Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Starawn from Judy Murphy. Now, this is a neat tangle. And at the time of this recording, the sun is setting on our July 4th Independence Day here in the States. And I wanted to find something that kind of, was celebratory. Celebratory in our July 4th fashion. One I was thinking of was that could kind of look like fireworks, especially if you curved lines, but I've already done a video on that one. So as I was looking, I found this one called Starawn, and I'm like, well, this looks rather neat, so let's give it a go. It starts off, and this is like a free form. So I'm going to do one, but when you're using it in a tangle, you could, do one and then, do more and just kind of spread them out in your space. However you wish to do so. Could also be called like an accent tangle. I've been using that word for that term for some that are like this, where it can just be a standalone, something that you put on the side of something, or or a fill-in. All right. So without further ado, we start with, if you're familiar with print-ups, we're going to start with that. So I'm going to do this kind of sort of working to have this be in the center. All right, I'm going to try to make this rather large. So print-ups is just a spiral. You start at one point. Oh, that looks good. And then, you just continue essentially auraing, and you're auraing around each layer that you go around. Next step on this one, if you've done the Tangle Indirella, and I do have a video on that one, this is kind of like half of Indirella. It's more of the Rella part, I suppose. So what we're going to do is we're going to aura our print-up, so a curved line, like so. And these first ones are going to be, we're going to call these first ones kind of big. So maybe aura about a quarter. I'm aiming for the corners, so if you're doing this on something that has corners, aim for those corners first, because I personally find it easier. All right, so the way this works is, and just like Indirella, so we have a curved line, and then we're going to do one just a smidge smaller, and we're going to keep going graduated. Is graduatedly a word? Oh, it is now. We're going to go graduatedly smaller. And then I like to, end up with little dots at the end. Okay? And then we're going to just turn the tile and do another side. I know there were some other videos, because I do, well, and this is sort of going to the corner. It doesn't have to. I just find it easy when doing some things like this, that if I have a place to aim, then that's better. All right. And this one is on the whimsical side too, as you can see. So what's nice about that is it exemplifies the idea, or the philosophy, we'll say, of Zentangle, that there are no such things as mistakes. And the more whimsical in nature these tangles are, the more it exemplifies that, because then you just really realize, well, there is no mistake, because I'm just, just doing what the step says. That one kind of went, and two, you just go with what's happening. In this, even in Indirella, I find I need to just slow down. And I did somewhere over here, I started like, I could extend some, but you know what? It's not worth it. It is not worth it, because then you end up with little extra bumps. And I know I can take care of that in the shading, but it's just kind of like, I'm telling myself this, Heather, just don't go there. Just leave it alone. It is what it is. It's okay. All right. So once you have your 4, then we're going to do ones kind of like in between these two. So these, of course, are going to be smaller. And I'm going to say maybe depending on where you start, I'm kind of liking, well, let me try this one up a little bit higher. I suppose I can always add in a line. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. So in the description box, just so you know, I will have my step outs, as well as a link. It'll be the Tangle Patterns link, because that's where, well, that's not quite a curved line. I'm kind of not doing graduatedly smaller. I'm kind of doing graduatedly bigger. We're putting an Indirella in here is what we're doing. All right, let's finish that up. Oh my gosh. Oh, and then we'll do some shading, and that'll help with that right there. And you know what? I like to do these in one take when I'm doing them because, you know, I don't know, and I think those that have made comments that they like that as well. Just because, you know what, we are all human, and Zentangle is not necessarily about being an artist. We find the art within ourselves. I'll get a little philosophical on us today. But we find the artist in ourselves. And I've never thought I could draw a stick figure to save my life, but I can do this. And so after a while, because I have been practicing Zentangle since 2012, so you know that's 9 years. And so after a while, you kind of go, you know what? Oh, I'm gonna just subscribe to this notion of there's no such thing as a mistake, and I'm gonna have fun with it. And that way, it's kind of like, for me, it's like, okay, just get over yourself, Heather. It's okay. It's all right. If you didn't do it exactly right, it's okay. Oy. Hopefully, if any of you have the same challenges, let me know in the comments. We'll start a little support group. Well, no, we have. It's called Zentangle. Which also, while I'm doing it, before I do some shading, there are, besides the step outs, besides the for more inspiration links, there are ways to connect. And so we do have a really nice Facebook community, the Tangle Addicts community. And so if you're on Facebook and want to join that, would love to have you. I do need to work on getting on Instagram and, you know, some other things, and even developing something for myself for those that don't want to be on Facebook, because I sometimes really don't want to be on Facebook myself, as much as it is fun to connect and things. But I want to find some other ways as well. So do come join us, and we'll have fun. And yeah, we are our support group for all things Zentangle. All right, so here's what I'm going to do for shading. And again, on her, on Judy's step out, she did not add any shading. So I'll just tell you this: so you don't have to add shading if you don't want to. But and I just had a thought. Oh no, I'll do something different. Because this is on a white tile. I all of a sudden had a thought, because I'm shading this like I would Indirella. And on Indirella, what I like to do sometimes is do dark on one side and light on the other, but that really only has an effect when you are on a toned paper. So, you know, the tan or gray tiles, and it doesn't have to be a Zentangle tile. It could just be that, you know, a nicely toned paper, because then the white shows up. But I could do one in the middle in that, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, apologize for the camera shaking. All right, I'm just going to do this is the push the graphite technique. Actually, I'm going to go the other way. Why? Don't know, but that's what I'm doing. So I'm kind of just pushing it, and when I'm this straight up and down motion like this, oh, and look at how cool that's looking already. So it spreads it out. But usually I do little circles, and so that will spread it out a little further. And I found that just doing this, it spreads it out just enough, and especially if you have a decently narrow-tipped tortillon. I'm thinking something needs to be in that center. Maybe I'll just do a ring of graphite around that center. We'll take a look after I get these done. But you can see, look at how that is just curving. And so this is what, it's like, just, from the things that I've learned in Zentangle, it's like, then you start feeling like an artist. And you know what? I don't have the spontaneous creativity, that's what I call it anyway, that I think artists have, where they could just draw something. This is different. This is a different type of artistry or creativity. So I think it needs something in that middle. I don't know what you think. Let's just try this. We'll just go around. I don't know. You know what? Maybe, well, I don't know. Let's just try. I'm going to go inside a little bit, just because that's what I'm feeling like I want to do. At this point, I'm just guessing. I'm like, well, you kind of, after you do it for a while, right, you get the, what's going to happen. You can kind of predict what something is going to look like. And so then see, yes. And then it's like, well, I don't know. And so then you just try. And as my mother says, it's only a piece of paper. And while I just kind of, I will always argue with her on that. But it is only a piece of paper, and and experimenting is also a fun part of creativity. Now, as I mentioned, so there is something that you can do with the white charcoal pencil, and let me do this. I'm putting some. Well, let's see if that's even showing up well. Oh, kind of. Oh, it's squeaking. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. I'm just putting a line of this. Yeah, so you can see it's kind of smudging it a little bit, but you can see that it's also kind of adding that shine. One of the things that you could do with just the pen is leave a little blank. There's some tangles that we've done in the Quickie series. Actually, I should probably do. Well, I'll leave that for the classes. On some techniques where we call it the sparkle. So you would leave a gap. Kind of what I'm doing with the white charcoal pencils, I'm kind of putting the gap in after the fact, but it also does add a little bit of something because it kind of, like I said, it's kind of smudges. And even though the tile is white, but it is kind of off-white, as you can kind of see from that pen. So that adds a little something, and it's just a line. You just want to make it show up a little bit. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I had fun sharing it with you, and other things. And like I said, check the description box for links on things. And if you enjoyed the video, would love to have a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed yet, would love to have your subscription. And if you do, make sure you click on the notification bell to decide how you want to be notified. Because there's nothing worse than if you don't like things popping up in your phone or showing up in your email, to have them show up. And you can select none. And that's a lot of times what I do, because I'll go to YouTube on my time when I want to go. And, I don't necessarily like things popping up on my phone and junking up my email. So I just share that as a little YouTube tip for you if you didn't know. And I do share it periodically on these videos. So with that, let me tell you one other thing. I do both free and paid classes, and I just want to make sure that you know that. The free classes are, for the most part, every Thursday. I do have, for this month, I do have a shift I need to make. But for the most part, they're every Thursday, or at least once a week. We'll say that, because that's like, if I have to shift it for a holiday or something, I'm going to shift it and not miss it if at all possible. So know that, and would love to have you join us, but that information is also on my website. And of course, the link is below. So do check us out, and so we'll hope to see you on a class. And other than that, I wish you happy tangling.